Welcome to another episode of the Diabetes Digital Podcast. In today's mini-sode, we are talking about tracking. This question we got from our Instagram. A person asked if they're not trying to lose weight, should they still track what they eat? I thought this was a fantastic question to answer during a mini-sode, so I'm just going to jump right in.
Welcome to the Diabetes Digital Podcast. I'm Wendy.
And I'm Jess, and we're best friends, registered dietitians, and diabetes educators.
Through our telehealth platform, diabetesdigital.co, we offer accessible and personalized virtual nutrition counseling for people with diabetes and prediabetes.
Visit diabetesdigital.co, that's C-O, to book your first appointment. We accept insurance and offer affordable self-pay options. Now, let's get into today's episode.
So first and foremost, I think it's important to reframe the idea of tracking. Sometimes when you're working with a dietitian, you might track your meals. And with us, we don't have people track their calories, do, calorie counting or macro tracking. We just have them track like how they're feeling before and after a meal, their hunger level before a meal, their fullness level after a meal, the emotional state that they were in. And they might also take a picture of what they ate. So we can kind of look at it as dietitians and give them suggestions for the nutrition content of their meal based on whatever their goals are. So tracking doesn't have to mean calorie counting. I think of it as checking in with yourself, not controlling yourself, and learning how different meals make you feel. There are some potential benefits to this awareness. You might notice that you always crash at 3 p.m. after certain lunches. I certainly noticed that. Or that on days that you have more fiber, you have more steady energy. I had a client once who realized that her evening blood sugar spikes were really tied to skipping lunch earlier in the day. Also, another client used photos for tracking. So she was taking pictures and she realized that she wasn't eating enough during the day, which really explained her late night cravings. So how do you track without calorie counting? There's a few different ways. I mentioned some of ours. So we use meal photos. Well, that can be really helpful for patients and triggering for others. So it's really important to kind of know where a person is coming from, what is triggering for them, what their history is. But if it's not something that's triggering for you, a meal photo in conjunction with working with a registered dietitian can be helpful. Also, we love food and mood journals. So this is what I had mentioned earlier. We have food and mood journals through an app that we use with our patients. So people can, again, take a picture of their meal and just write down how it made them feel, what their mood was, or they can even jot down, a brief description of what they ate and how they felt. I also think this awareness can be helpful when you pair it with your CGM or glucometer readings if you use one. So for us, we're working with a lot of people who are focusing on their blood glucose. So like I said, diabetes, prediabetes. So many of our patients are using continuous glucose monitors or glucometers, which are both tools for measuring your blood glucose in real time. And oftentimes our patients will pair that information with what they ate so they can know what's going on. So for example, if I see on my CGM, my glucose monitor, that my blood glucose all of a sudden went up really high and didn't come down, and I also know that, I skipped lunch that day and then had a really big dinner, that might have been the reason why, right? So we can help put two and two together. So even just a few words like I felt sluggish or super focused can be helpful. We don't have to do paragraphs here. I think whatever is easy to fit into your schedule and your life. I also want people to emphasize intention over perfection. So you do not need to log everything forever and ever and ever. This is to use as a tool when you're trying to figure something out. And it's not about being perfect. It's about being curious. So we always try to encourage our clients to reframe into that more curious perspective versus that controlling perspective. So when is it time to take a break from tracking? I think number one, if tracking starts to feel like a burden or it makes you feel anxious or step back or stop eating. I also think if you have enough data from the tracking to trust your body more, then it might be time to kind of step away. We've had so many clients who've tracked their food, their mood, their photos of their meals for a month, for 2 months, and then they stop once they feel confident knowing what helped them feel their best. So there's no one size fits all. It's really case by case. So So in short, yes, it can still be helpful to add awareness to your food, your mood, what you're eating, even if you're not trying to lose weight. Here at Diabetes Digital, we actually take a weight inclusive approach. So we do not focus on intentional weight loss. We focus on behaviors and how we can incorporate healthy behaviors to improve our health outcomes and feel better and have more energy. So if you're looking to work with one of our dietitians, definitely make sure to check us out at diabetesdigital.co. We have a quick 30-second quiz you can take to get to see your preliminary eligibility to work with us. And from there, we'll go ahead and verify your benefits and you can make an appointment with one of our dietitians. The nice thing is we accept insurance, so most of our patients don't pay anything out of pocket, which is absolutely incredible. And we can work with you long term and really dive into what is going on and help you change those behaviors. All right. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Diabetes Digital Podcast, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode. If you're interested in nutrition counseling with one of our expert dietitians to help improve your prediabetes or diabetes, visit us at diabetesdigital.co.
Also, if you found our conversation helpful, do us a favor and rate and review this podcast on iTunes, plus share with someone who might find this helpful. You can also connect with us on Instagram at diabetesdigital.co.
And tune in every Wednesday for practical, inclusive, and culturally humble diabetes insights. We'll catch you later. Bye.